Throughout the history of the Star Wars galaxy, there have always been great Jedi killers, those that have sinisterly mastered the ways of their order and dedicated hours upon hours or even years to their undoing. But out of all of them, one is held above the rest as the greatest Jedi killer of all time. Darth Vader, for almost 2 decades, focused his efforts on the eradication of the Jedi. Before Vader was forced into his cybernetic suit by his former master Obi-Wan Kenobi, he killed them through superior skill and knowledge of their abilities. But after his time in the suit, he mastered the art of killing Jedi even further, becoming a more proficient killer than the more naturally gifted Anakin Skywalker who he was in his previous life as a Jedi himself. Before we get into the deep dark secrets though of how Darth Vader killed these Jedi, I do want to remind you guys about a massive sale on the Star Wars merchandise page. Because Christmas is past, there's huge deals and massive discounts. You can get exclusive Star Wars merch from Mandalorian to Darth Vader and more for as low as $11, and some items up to 70% off. With that said, let's continue with Darth Vader's dark secrets for butchering Jedi. Vader, being a Jedi for years himself earlier, helped a great deal in his quest to drive them utterly from the galaxy. Vader knew how to exploit crippling weaknesses that were ingrained within the Jedi. He knew that if he targeted innocents, Jedi would follow, and he knew that if they failed to act, he had instilled them with great fear and the seeds of the dark side. Sometimes it was not Vader's ultimate goal to kill a Jedi, but to turn them if they proved to be powerful enough. Therefore, he would drive them to compromise their morals and firm stance in the light side. Fear was one of Vader's greatest weapons. Most of the time, he had his opponents trembling at his power and reputation before ever activating his lightsaber. Vader's suit had been specifically designed to harken back to the Sith warrior armor of old, being large and intimidating. Vader was also a master duelist, creating his own hybridized form made specifically for dueling and killing Jedi, becoming far more skilled with the lightsaber than his time prior as Anakin, compensating highly for many of his injuries, and driving Vader to hone his craft. The constant pain he suffered both within the suit and his own mind made his connection to the dark side insanely powerful, as the nature of darkness feeds on the emotions such as anger, hatred, and pain. But Vader was also not a slave to these feelings. In combat, Jedi and his own men noted how utterly in command of any situation he seemed, even when times appeared dire. Vader was calm. He was a steady force of the dark side, unlike beings like Savage Opress or Darth Maul. Vader never lost his cool or his focus, and allowed himself to be blinded by intimidation or fear, or even rage. At times, Vader would be weary of his opponents, but he would never fear them. This stemmed from the fact that Vader did not fear death. On one occasion, Palpatine taunted Vader that if he so desired, he could destroy him where he stood. But Vader stood in confidence and triumph, stating that death was no longer Vader's greatest fear, only the idea of living a life without purpose and without power. This great control granted Vader a special ability not many Darksiders have achieved. Other Darksiders lack concentration during battles, being willed into a rage of pure darkness. But Vader was like a virus. He would kill you quickly and silently if need be. This, along with great practice, granted Vader the ability to use Dun Moch. Dun Moch was a dark side power that began with simple taunts, comments on an opponent's shortcomings and weaknesses. Small at first, but that could rile an opponent into a rage. But when advanced, it allowed a focused Sith to enter the minds of their opponents. By being able to see the mind of a Jedi before he fought, Vader knew instantly how to defeat them, and instantly crippled them with fear. Darth Vader fought on several fronts as a Sith Lord, when as a Jedi he purely fought on the physical. As a Sith, he would literally fight you in your own mind. Once penetrating their minds, the Dark Lord would prod, sensing their connection in the Force, but also their fears. By doing this, Vader unbalanced the Jedi ever before locking blades with them. Dun Moch was an excellent ability to use against Jedi, as Jedi required great concentration to battle effectively. By disrupting this, just that, they became unbalanced. This is what was recorded about the Sith ability of Dun Moch in ancient Sith texts. Make him doubt himself, his beliefs, or his intentions. Such things disrupt connections to the Force. And death soon follows. By using Dun Moch, Sith could also pull very thoughts out of the minds of their opponents, having them reveal secrets of their own and their deepest fears. The ability was also used to disconnect Jedi from each other, as skilled practitioners like Vader could remove the Force signatures of others for a time, creating a true feeling of being alone in the minds of a Jedi, and removing from them a Jedi's greatest strength, the fact that in most cases, Vader fought multiple Jedi at once. If Vader could separate a Jedi within their mind and make them feel alone, all he had to do was conquer one, and not the many. Although Vader was skilled with this ability, he was not the greatest to ever use it. The greatest utilizer of Dun Moch in galactic history was Darth Sidious, who used it for years, subtly manipulating others to do his bidding, and seeing what they desired and again feared within their own minds, being able to manipulate them further. Sidious's most impressive use of the ability is when he used it to momentarily confuse the entirety of the Jedi Order as the clones attacked them, this being something that stems from Legends continuity. But Sidious was able to use Dun Moch on a massive scale, feeling fear in the hearts of every single Jedi so that the clone troopers would have a moment to attack them. Again, Sidious was only able to use this ability for a brief moment, but it resulted in the near complete annihilation of the Jedi Order. By just a moment entering and clouding their minds, the Jedi were blindsided by their clone companions, as they were given just enough time to execute the Jedi. Only the strongest of the Order, such as Yoda, were able to fend this off and see through the ability, and partially because of the death of the Jedi, Yoda had been tipped off. But Vader little cared for these types of implementations with Dun Moch. Vader was solely focused on its combative capabilities. Dun Moch could also confuse opponents as to what lightsaber forms were in use, allowing users of the ability optimal chance at surprise. A far less experienced utilizer of the ability, Asajj Ventress, also found success using it against Jedi, but never on the level of Lord Vader, and definitely nowhere near the level of Sidious. Before ever becoming Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker had seen the ability in use as Count Dooku utilized it against him himself. But Dooku's was more focused on doubt for one's own abilities, and Vader's, while having elements of that, could momentarily blind a user to the Force and capitalize on this fear. However, again, Vader at first had learned this great ability from Dooku, as he could feel Dooku on several occasions penetrate his own mind, leading more to the idea that Dooku was actually one of the greatest teachers of Vader before he ever called himself by that name. When Vader battled both Starkiller and Galen Marek, the battle was largely fought mentally using Dun Moch, as Galen Marek actually successfully implemented the ability against Vader himself. Galen exploited Vader's frustration of being trapped under the thumb of the Emperor as a permanent student, and taunted him, saying that Galen was able to break free of Vader, but still, Vader was a slave to Palpatine. Against Starkiller though, Vader was prepared for his experience, now at the hands of Dun Moch himself, granting him even more power over it. On Kamino, Vader even became skilled enough to show the Starkiller clone visions of Galen Marek's life and pain that he had felt, something that he was unable to do prior, showing a newfound power in Dun Moch. To some bizarre degree, Dun Moch was also used in the Dark Side Cave on Dagobah, as it entered an individual's mind and showed them visions of what they feared. For all of its great advantages, however, Dun Moch was dangerous for the utilizer as well. If the practitioner had a connection with the opponent they were attempting to use it on, it also opened up their own mind. This is in large what allowed Luke to see into Vader's mind momentarily and sense his conflict in Return of the Jedi, as Vader had used Dun Moch to penetrate Luke's mind in the throne room battle, but Luke in response could also see into Vader's mind. Dun Moch also could have more explosive effects, as emphasizing an enemy's darkness could provoke them into using the dark side and cause them to attack with unexpected fury. Vader experienced this firsthand when he prodded the mind of Luke on the second Death Star yet again, discovering the existence of Leia and exploiting Luke's own inner anger, something Vader deeply regretted doing. Because of this, Luke attacked Vader with power he had not expected, and he eventually was defeated by his son. But this only ever occurred a single time with Vader, due to Vader indeed being conflicted and a strong connection with his own son. Therefore, this was an exceptionally rare occurrence when using the ability. But that is the ability that Vader had that allowed him to kill so many Jedi over the course of many years, coupled with his inherent command over the dark side of the Force and unparalleled dueling skills. Still though, the ability of Dun Moch was among Vader's greatest weapons. But what are your own personal thoughts on the ability of Dun Moch, and had you heard of it before this video? And what are your thoughts on this revelation of Vader's secret to killing so many Jedi? Again guys, don't forget to check out the link in the description below for a massive discount on the Star Wars merch following the holidays. And let me know in the comments what of the designs on the page are your favorite. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.